Hello friends, welcome back to my channel, Old Coins News. Today we're looking at 4 interesting U.S. nickels: the 1918 Buffalo Nickel, 1926 Buffalo Nickel, 1941 D Jefferson Nickel, and 1979 D Jefferson Nickel. Some of these coins can be rare and valuable, so watch this video till the end to discover their real story. Let's get started. The 1918 Buffalo Nickel is one of the classic coins of early 20th century American currency. This coin belongs to the famous Buffalo Nickel series that circulated in the United States from 1913 to 1938. It carries several historic inscriptions including Liberty, E Pluribus Unum, United States of America, and the denomination 5 cents. These words were carefully chosen to reflect the identity and values of the United States. The phrase E Pluribus Unum, meaning out of many, one, represents a unity of the states forming one nation. The year 1918 appears on the obverse of the coin, marking a time when the United States was involved in the final stages of the global conflict known as World War I. During this period, coins like the Buffalo Nickel were used daily by Americans for small purchases, making them an important part of everyday economic life. The design of the Buffalo Nickel was created by the renowned American sculptor James Earl Fraser, who wanted the coin to represent the true spirit and heritage of the American frontier. Fraser believed that American coinage should show authentic national themes rather than classical European imagery. On the obverse side of the 1918 Buffalo Nickel, the design features a strong profile portrait of a Native American man facing to the right. This portrait is not a single individual, but a combination of features from several Native American leaders whom Fraser studied while creating the design. Among those believed to have inspired the portrait are Iron Tail, Two Moons, and John Bigtree. The word Liberty appears near the front of the portrait, while the date 1918 is located below it. The reverse side of the coin shows one of the most famous animal images ever placed on American money, a large American bison standing on a mound of earth. This powerful animal represents the wildlife and natural heritage of North America. The bison design was inspired by American bison, which once roamed the Great Plains in massive herds. According to many historians, Fraser used a bison named Black Diamond as a reference while designing the coin. This animal lived at the Central Park Zoo, where Fraser reportedly studied it closely to capture its powerful form. Above the bison appear the words United States of America, and near the top of the coin is the inscription E Pluribus Unum. Beneath the bison, the denomination 5 cents is clearly written. The 1918 Buffalo Nickel was produced by the United States Mint at 3 main mint facilities across the country. These facilities included the Philadelphia Mint, the Denver Mint, and the San Francisco Mint. Coins produced at the Philadelphia Mint typically have no mint mark, while coins from the Denver Mint carry the letter D and those from the San Francisco Mint carry the letter S. Each mint produced different quantities of coins, and collectors today often study these mint marks to determine rarity and value. The metal composition of the 1918 Buffalo Nickel follows the standard formula used for United States nickels during that era. The coin is made of 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it durability and a distinctive metallic color. It weighs approximately 5 grams and has a diameter of about 21.2 millimeters. The coin's edge is plain rather than reeded. These specifications remain consistent for Buffalo nickels throughout their production years. Because the coin circulated heavily in everyday transactions, many examples today show signs of wear, especially in the high-relief areas of the design. During the time when the 1918 Buffalo Nickel was in circulation, the United States economy was experiencing major changes. The country was mobilizing resources for the final year of World War I, and industrial production was rapidly expanding. Coins were needed in large numbers for daily trade, wages, transportation fares, and small purchases. Buffalo nickels were commonly used for buying food, newspapers, candies, and other inexpensive goods. Because they were used so frequently, the design details often wore down quickly, particularly the date and the buffalo's horn. From a collector's point of view, the 1918 Buffalo Nickel is an important part of the Buffalo Nickel series. While many examples exist in circulated condition, finding a coin with strong detail and a clear date can be more difficult. Numismatists usually grade these coins using condition levels such as good, G, fine, F, very fine, VF, extremely fine, XF, and mint state, MS. Coins in higher grades have sharper details, clearer inscriptions, and sometimes original mint luster. Well-preserved specimens are more valuable and desirable among collectors. One interesting challenge associated with buffalo nickels, including the 1918 issue, is a tendency for the date to wear away over time. Because the date was placed on a raised portion of the design, it often faded after years of circulation. Many collectors have discovered buffalo nickels with partially or completely worn dates. In some cases, specialists use careful restoration techniques to reveal faint dates, though this must be done cautiously to avoid damaging the coin. The Buffalo Nickel series remained in production until 1938. At that time, the United States Mint introduced a new 5-cent coin featuring Thomas Jefferson. This new design became known as the Jefferson Nickel, which replaced the Buffalo Nickel after 25 years of production. Although the Buffalo Nickel was no longer minted, it remained one of the most beloved designs in American coin history. The 1926 Buffalo Nickel is one of the most fascinating coins from early 20th century American coinage. It belongs to the famous Buffalo Nickel series that was minted in the United States from 1913 to 1938. This coin carries several important inscriptions such as Liberty, E Pluribus Unum, United States of America, and the denomination 5 cents. These inscriptions represent the political ideals and national identity of the United States. The phrase E Pluribus Unum, which means out of many, one, symbolizes a unity of the states forming a single nation. The year 1926 appears on the obverse side of the coin, making it part of the coins produced during the presidency of Calvin Coolidge, a period when the American economy was expanding during what historians often call the Roaring Twenties. The design of the Buffalo Nickel was created by the famous American sculptor James Earl Fraser. Fraser wanted the coin to represent the authentic spirit and heritage of the American West. On the obverse side of the coin, the design shows a powerful profile portrait of a Native American man. Rather than copying a single person, Fraser combined features from several Native American leaders to create a symbolic portrait representing Native American culture as a whole. Among the individuals who reportedly influenced the design were Iron Tail, Two Moons, and John Big Tree. The portrait faces right, and the word Liberty appears along the edge near the Native American profile, with the date 1926 just below it. The reverse side of the coin features one of the most recognizable animal images in American coinage history, a large American bison, often called a buffalo. This design was inspired by American bison, a powerful animal that once roamed the plains of North America in massive herds. The specific animal believed to have inspired the design was a famous bison named Black Diamond, which lived at the Central Park Zoo in New York. Fraser visited the zoo and studied the animal carefully before sculpting the design. On the reverse of the 1926 Buffalo Nickel, the bison stands on a raised mound of ground, with the words United States of America above the animal and E Pluribus Unum near the top of the coin. The denomination 5 cents appears below the bison. The 1926 Buffalo Nickel was produced at 3 different United States Mint facilities. These were the United States Mint locations in Philadelphia Mint, Denver Mint, and San Francisco Mint. Coins minted in Philadelphia typically have no mint mark, while those produced in Denver have a small D mint mark, and those from San Francisco have an S mint mark. The Philadelphia Mint produced the largest number of 1926 Buffalo Nickels, while the San Francisco Mint produced far fewer coins. Because of this lower production, the 1926 Buffalo Nickel is considered one of the key dates in the entire Buffalo Nickel series and is highly sought after by coin collectors. The metal composition of the 1926 Buffalo Nickel consists of 75% copper and 25% nickel, which was a standard composition for United States 5-cent coins during that era. The coin has a diameter of about 21.2 millimeters, a weight of 5 grams, and a plain edge without reading. Over time, many Buffalo Nickels experienced heavy wear because the design had high relief and many fine details. As a result, the date and design elements often wore down quickly in circulation. This is why well-preserved examples of the 1926 Buffalo Nickel are much more valuable today than heavily circulated pieces. During the 1920s, Buffalo Nickels were widely used in everyday American commerce. People used them to buy small goods, pay for services, or even purchase items like candy, newspapers, and streetcar rides. The coins circulated heavily across the country, which is why many surviving examples today show significant wear. Nevertheless, the design remained popular with the public because it represented American history, Native American culture, and the wildlife of the American frontier. From a collector's perspective, the 1926 Buffalo nickel has considerable numismatic interest. Coins in heavily circulated condition may only be worth a few dollars, but well-preserved examples can be worth significantly more. The rarest and most valuable version is the 1926 Buffalo nickel, which had a relatively low mintage. High-grade examples of this coin can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on their condition and certification. Collectors evaluate the condition of these coins using grading standards such as good G, fine F, very fine VF, extremely fine XF, and mint state MS. Coins graded in mint state condition are those that were never circulated and still retain their original luster and sharp details. Another interesting aspect of the 1926 Buffalo nickel is a challenge collectors face in finding coins with clearly visible date. Because the date was placed on a raised part of the design, it often wore away after years of circulation. Some collectors use special techniques or chemicals to reveal faint dates on worn coins, though such methods must be used carefully to avoid damaging the coin. The Buffalo nickel series eventually ended in 1938 when the United States Mint replaced it with a new design featuring Thomas Jefferson. This new coin became known as a Jefferson nickel, which remains a basic design for the U.S. nickel today, although it has undergone several modern redesigns over the decades. Today, the 1926 Buffalo nickel remains a treasured piece of American numismatic history. It represents a time when coin designers were encouraged to create artistic and meaningful images that reflected the nation's heritage. The coin's portrait of a Native American and the powerful image of the American bison capture the spirit of the American frontier and the cultural history of the United States. Because of its historical significance, artistic beauty, and rarity in higher grades, the 1926 Buffalo nickel continues to attract collectors and historians from around the world. The 1979 D Jefferson Nickel is an important modern coin in the history of United States currency. This coin carries several well-known inscriptions including "In God We Trust," "Liberty," "E Pluribus Unum," "United States of America," and the denomination 5 cents. On the reverse side of the coin appears the famous building Monticello, which was a historic home of Thomas Jefferson. The mint mark D on this coin indicates that it was produced at the Denver Mint. The year 1979 places this coin in a period of American history when the United States economy was experiencing inflation, energy challenges, and political change. Yet everyday coins like the Jefferson nickel continued to circulate widely in daily transactions. The Jefferson nickel design first appeared in 1938 when the United States Mint replaced the earlier Buffalo nickel design. The new coin honored Thomas Jefferson, who was not only a U.S. president but also the author of the Declaration of Independence and one of the most influential figures in American history. The design of the Jefferson nickel was created by sculptor Felix Schlag, whose portrait of Jefferson became one of the most recognizable images on American coinage. On the obverse side of the 1979 D Jefferson nickel, Jefferson's profile faces left. Above the portrait appears the phrase "In God We Trust," while the word "Liberty" and the year 1979 are written to the right side of the portrait. The reverse side of the coin displays Monticello, Jefferson's famous plantation home in Virginia. Monticello is not only an architectural masterpiece but also a symbol of Jefferson's intellectual interest and vision for the young United States. The building was designed by Jefferson himself and reflects elements of classical European architecture combined with American innovation. On the coin, Monticello appears in a detailed engraving, with the inscriptions "E Pluribus Unum" above the building and "United States of America" around the top. The denomination 5 cents is written below the image of Monticello. The 1979 D Jefferson nickel was struck using the standard metal composition that had been used for U.S. nickel for many decades. The coin contains 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it strength and resistance to wear. The coin weighs approximately 5 grams and has a diameter of about 21.21 millimeters. Its edge is plain, meaning it does not have the ridges that appear on coins like quarters or dimes. This durable composition allowed the coin to remain in circulation for many years without significant damage. During 1979, the United States produced large numbers of coins to support everyday commerce. Millions of Jefferson nickels were minted at the Denver Mint that year, making the 1979 D nickel a very common coin in circulation. These coins were used daily by Americans for purchases such as snacks, bus fares, newspapers, and vending machine items. Because they were so common, most examples of the 1979 D Jefferson nickel have relatively low collector value unless they are found in exceptional condition. Coin collectors evaluate the condition of Jefferson nickels using a grading scale that includes categories such as good, G, fine, F, very fine, VF, extremely fine, XF, about uncirculated, AU, and mint state, MS. Coins that have circulated heavily will show worn details on Jefferson's hair and face as well as on the steps of Monticello. However, coins preserved in mint state condition may still display their original shine, known as mint luster, and very sharp details. High-grade examples of the 1979 D Jefferson nickel can be worth more to collectors, especially if they show the desirable full steps detail on the Monticello building. The concept of full steps is particularly important for collectors of Jefferson nickels. On the reverse side of the coin, the staircase leading up to Monticello can sometimes appear weak or partially struck due to the minting process. When a coin displays all the steps clearly and sharply, it is described as having full steps. Such coins are rarer and more valuable because they indicate a very strong strike from a minting dies. The Jefferson Nickel series has continued for many decades and remains one of the longest-running coin designs in United States history. While the design has seen several updates, the portrait of Thomas Jefferson and the image of Monticello remain iconic symbols of American heritage. The Jefferson nickel replaced the earlier buffalo nickel, which featured a Native American portrait and a buffalo. Although collectors still admire the buffalo nickel for its artistic beauty, the Jefferson nickel became more practical for everyday circulation because its design wore down less quickly. Today, the 1979 D Jefferson nickel represents a piece of everyday American history. While it may not be extremely rare, it still holds importance for coin collectors and historians who study modern United States coinage. The coin reflects the values, leadership, and architectural heritage of the nation through its portrait of Thomas Jefferson and its depiction of Monticello. For many collectors, assembling a complete set of Jefferson nickels, including coins like the 1979 D issue, is an enjoyable way to explore the history of American currency and the artistic designs produced by the United States Mint. The 1941 D Jefferson nickel is a historic coin from the early years of the Jefferson Nickel series. This coin carries several important inscriptions that reflect American identity and values, including "In God We Trust," "Liberty," "E Pluribus Unum," "United States of America," and the denomination 5 cents. The mint mark D on this coin shows that it was produced at the Denver Mint. The year 1941 marks an important moment in world history, as it was a year when the United States entered World War II after the attack on Pearl Harbor. Coins like the 1941 D Jefferson nickel circulated widely during this time, playing a small but important role in the everyday economic life of Americans during a period of global conflict. The Jefferson nickel design first appeared in 1938 when the United States Mint decided to replace the earlier buffalo nickel. The new design honored Thomas Jefferson, one of the most influential leaders in American history. Jefferson was a primary author of the Declaration of Independence and served as a third president of the United States from 1801 to 1809. The designer of the Jefferson nickel was Felix Schlag, a talented sculptor whose design was chosen in a national competition organized by the United States Mint. On the obverse side of the 1941 D Jefferson nickel, the coin features a detailed portrait of Thomas Jefferson facing left. Above the portrait appears the phrase "In God We Trust," which has been used on United States coins for many years as a national motto expressing the country's spiritual heritage. To the right of Jefferson's portrait appear the word liberty and the date 1941. A small star separates the word liberty from the date. The portrait of Jefferson was carefully designed to capture his thoughtful personality and dignified appearance, making it one of the most recognizable images on American coins. The reverse side of the 1941 D Jefferson nickel displays the famous building Monticello, which was Jefferson's plantation home located near Charlottesville. Monticello was designed by Jefferson himself and reflects his deep interest in architecture, science, and classical design. The structure shown on the coin includes its famous dome and column facade. Above the building appears the phrase "E Pluribus Unum," meaning "out of many, one," symbolizing the unity of the United States. Around the top of the reverse are the words "United States of America," and below the image of Monticello is a denomination 5 cents. The 1941 D Jefferson nickel was struck using the traditional metal composition used for United States nickels at that time. The coin contained 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it durability and a bright metallic color. It weighs approximately 5 grams and has a diameter of about 21.21 millimeters. The coin's edge is plain, meaning it has no ridges. These specifications remain consistent for Jefferson nickels for many years, except during the wartime period from 1942 to 1945, when special war nickels were produced with silver due to the military demand for nickel metal. In 1941, the United States Mint produced millions of Jefferson nickels to meet the needs of the growing American economy. The Denver Mint was responsible for producing a large number of these coins, which were then distributed across the country for everyday use. During the early 1940s, 5-cent coins were commonly used for many small purchases such as food, transportation fares, newspapers, and vending machines. Because of their frequent use, many Jefferson nickels from this era show signs of circulation where today, coin collectors pay special attention to the condition and quality of coins like the 1941 D Jefferson Nickel. Numismatists grade coins using a standardized scale that includes good, G, fine, F, very fine, VF, extremely fine, XF, about uncirculated, AU, and mint state, MS. The higher the grade, the better preserved the coin is. In circulated coins, details on Jefferson's hair and the architectural features of Monticello may appear worn. However, coins preserved in mint state condition can display sharp details and a bright original luster. One important feature collectors look for on Jefferson nickels is the clarity of the steps leading to the entrance of Monticello. When all the steps are clearly visible and sharply defined, the coin is said to have full steps. Coins with full steps are highly valued because they indicate a strong strike during the minting process. Finding a 1941 D Jefferson nickel with full steps in high mint state condition can be quite rare and valuable. The Jefferson Nickel series continued for many decades and remains one of the longest-running designs in United States coin history. Although the design has been modified slightly over time, the portrait of Thomas Jefferson and the image of Monticello have remained key symbols of the coin. Before the Jefferson nickel was introduced, the United States used a buffalo nickel, which featured a Native American portrait and a buffalo on the reverse. While the buffalo nickel was admired for its artistic beauty, the Jefferson nickel was designed to be more durable and practical for circulation. Today, the 1941 D Jefferson nickel represents an important piece of American history. It reflects the early years of the Jefferson Nickel series and the historical context of the United States during the early 1940s. For collectors and historians, the coin offers insight into American design, minting technology, and everyday life during a time when the world was undergoing dramatic changes. Although it may not be extremely rare, well-preserved examples of the 1941 D Jefferson nickel remain popular among collectors who appreciate the historical and cultural significance of United States coinage.